Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. I hope everyone is shaving a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. The night had fallen over Los Angeles with a haunting stillness. The kind of eerie quiet that feels like the entire world is holding its breath, waiting for a single memento shatter it. And that moment came with screeching tires, the sharp crunch of twisting metal, and the helpless cry of a young woman whose life had already been pushed to the edge far too many times. Luna Natsuwa, fragile yet fierce, hopeful yet hunted by shadows she never invited. She lay crushed inside the wreckage of a silver sedan on the coastal highway. Glass glittering across the pavement like 1,000 tiny stars spilled from the sky, her breathing shallow, her pulse flickering like auditing flame. And as distant headlights approached, Bill Spencer's world, already bruised, already fractured bypassed sins and impossible choices, was moments away from collapsing in ways he could never have predicted. For when Hess stumbled toward the wreck, heart pounding, hands trembling, he felt something he had not felt in decades, pure paralyzing fear. The kind that grabs the lungs and refuses to let go, the kind that reminds a man like him that money, power, broken promises, Andre-forged alliances cannot protect the people who fall unexpectedly into the fragile circle of his heart. Especially not someone as innocent and undeserving of tragedy as Luna. Paramedics swarmed, their voices firm and clipped, working urgently as they extracted her from the twisted ruins of the car, and Bill, breath ragged, knelt beside the stretcher, shock freezing him in place as blood trickled from the corner of Luna's mouth, and her lashes fluttered in an agonizing slow blink. Her voice barely a whisper as she fought to stay awake, to stay tethered to the world, to stop herself from drifting into the darkness that beckoned her like a cold tide. And as the sirens wailed and the ambulance door slammed shut, Bill sat inside with her. He insisted, he demanded. He threatened to tear the hospital apart if anyone kept him away, his normally commanding voice cracking with desperation as he gripped her hand, feeling its coldness, its stillness, fighting back the fear that these might be the last moments he would ever have with her. Los Angeles blurred in streaks of red and white lights outside the ambulance window, while Luna's breaths grew even more uneven. And in the chaos of the year, where doctors rushed her into immediate trauma care, Bill found himself standing helplessly in the hallway, helpless in a way that infuriated him because he was a man who thrived on control, on dominance, on strategic precision. But none of that could help Luna now. None of that mattered against the reality of ruptured ribs, internal bleeding, a head injury that threatened swelling, and a heartbeat that danced dangerously Clacido stopping. And he paced the hallway like a trapped animal, demanding updates, cursing doctors who weren't fast enough, cursing himself for reasons she couldn't even articulate. Because somewhere deep inside, he felt this was his fault, his moment to carry, his burden in ways even he didn't understand yet. When the doctor finally called him in, Bill stepped into the dimly lit recovery room, the rhythmic beep of the monitor slicing through the suffocating silence. And there she was, pale, fragile, almost ghost-like Luna, her hair tangled with dried blood, her breath shallow but present, and something inside Bill shattered at the sight, something primal and protective, something he hadn't even felt with his own sons in years. A fierce urge to shield her from every pain imaginable, to undo the cruelty the world seemed determined to throw at her. He pulled up a chair, sitting with slow, heavy movements as if gravity itself was fighting him. And he reached for her hand again, feeling the faint warmth still clinging to her skin. And when her eyes fluttered open barely painfully, he leaned in, his voice rough, whispering her name like a prayer he never knew he would need. And she blinked up at him with tears pooling in her eyes. Tears that carried exhaustion, fear, longing, and something unspoken, something heavy and heartbreaking. Her lips parted, trembling, and Bill leaned closer, desperate for any sign of consciousness, any sign of life, any sign of hope. And then Luna's voice, fragile as cracked glass, escaped her throat with a trembling softness that rippled through Bill's soul like a knife wrapped in velvet. And she spoke the 6 words that would change him forever. 6 words so unexpectedly raw, so emotionally devastating, so disarming that Bill felt the air leave his lungs as if someone had ripped it from him. 6 words spoken through fading breaths and tears slipping down her cheek. "Please don't let me die, Bill." And those 6 words, simple, agonizing, heartbreaking, turned Bill Spencer, the iron-willed titan, the ruthless skyscraper among men, into someone small, someone vulnerable, someone undone. Tears filled his eyes before he could even fight them back, his chest tightening, his throat choking as he whispered back, "I won't. I won't let you go, Luna. Not you. Not tonight. Not ever." But she slipped again into unconsciousness, her body surrendering to the trauma, leaving Bill trembling beside her, crying silently into his hands. Because those words weren't just fear. They were trust. Trust she placed in him in her most fragile moment. Trust no one ever gave him any more. Trust he didn't believe he deserved. Hours passed like days. The hospital lights flickering across the tile floor, footsteps echoing in the hall. While Bill remained planted at her side, refusing to leave, refusing food, refusing rest, refusing anything other than the sound of the monitor confirming she was still alive. And he replayed those 6 words over and over in his head until they carved themselves into the very fabric of his being. "Please don't let me die, Bill." And he wondered why they hurt so much, why they cut deeper than any betrayal, any heartbreak, any loss he'd ever endured, until he realized something terrifying, that he had grown to care for Luna more than he ever intended, more than he ever understood, more than he ever admitted even to himself. And now the thought of losing her. This girl who wasn't his daughter, wasn't his responsibility, wasn't his legacy, felt like a blade twisting in his chest. When the doctor finally returned with updates, Bill stood so fast the chair nearly toppled.